Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. This is a community show where we try to educate you about the criminal justice system through stories. I have two fantastic Houstonians, Harris County members who are in the audience tonight. Mr. David Collingsworth, who is one of the anchors to the prison show, radio show that comes on every week. And then Mr. Danny Sneed, who is formerly incarcerated, my friend, my buddy, my church member, and he's going to talk about current events tonight. But before we get started real deep, I need to take a point of personal privilege. Today is June 20th, 2018, and I have to read something to you. So this segment is called Dear Diary. Dear Diary, tearfully, I cry for America's lack of humanity. Separating children from parents will cause irreparable psychological harm. Families seeking asylum from cruel governments arrive to another cruel government to be enslaved. Trump's mother was an immigrant. Trump's two wives were immigrants. Trump's policy is cruel, and he won't even take responsibility for it. Like a coward, he lies on Obama. This is not an Obama policy. God have mercy on these separated and caged and enslaved families. I pray these families can forgive America and survive their enslavement. My heart cries for these innocent babies and the pain in their parents' hearts for not being able to rescue them. This, I have to say, from a descendant of a slave, Vivian King. And I have to just make that comment. I cannot ignore what's going on in the world. I don't watch it on TV. I don't like to say Trump's name, but I am outraged. Even George Takei, a Japanese American who was enslaved in Japanese internment camps. He was famous from Star Trek. He even, when he was in his cages, he was in the cage with his parents. So you never separate a child from their parents. And you know why? Because children don't know why their parents aren't coming to get them. It's going to cause irreparable harm to the child because their parents abandoned them. They won't see it as the government. They'll see it as their parents not coming back to get them. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good. So let me get back, and this is an injustice that is going against these kids, and I just have to say something about it. So from there, I want to talk about the prison show. So David, I'm sorry I had to take that little detour, but it's on my heart to talk about it, and this is our platform, so we talk about it.
That's a topic we talk about on the prison show also.
Really?
We started having a Latino host because at first the ICE was putting the whole family in like ADSEG, solitary confinement. And I just thought that it really grieved my heart to see the children incarcerated with their parents, let alone without their parents.
Can you imagine being 2 or 3 and not having your parents? I mean, even though they might have seen the police, kids don't even know what the police are. So even though the government might have separated them, it's almost like going to daycare when a kid doesn't want to go. Your parents still come back to get you. Right. And remember, these children are their parents. They were ripped, they were made from their parents. They instinctively go towards their parents. So if for their parents not to come get them, the psychological harm that's going to be on those parents are going to be something that all of society are going to have to deal with because they're going to hate their parents if it doesn't end soon. And these kids and parents will be in jail for up to a year waiting for an immigration hearing. So what is the problem with putting these kids together with their parents? I mean, they're going to be enslaved. Who's taking care of these kids? You got a room full of kids. Who's taking care of them? They have to use a bathroom. They have to eat. I mean, they might have illnesses. They're going to all be sick. You know, when your kids go to daycare, they all get sick. So if one of them has an infection or diarrhea or stomachache, everybody's going to be sick. Can you imagine how nasty this is?
Yeah. And
I mean, they're in little cages. Some of those cages look like animal cages.
The tragedy is they're using these children as political footballs. And
I ain't even going to address it. Let's not even address that. I don't care what he's doing. He's an evil dog, okay? I don't care what his reason is. He's evil. There's no reason to be that evil. It's just no reason to be that. I don't care what everybody, and I'm not saying you were doing that, but people are justifying, he's going to do this until they build the wall. Well, that doesn't make any sense because Congress is mostly Republican, the Senate is mostly Republican, and he's a Republican, so they can build the wall now. So that's just bullcorn. because they are in charge of everything right now. So it's not like the Democrats can't stop anything. So I think that's bullcorn. My friends are saying, oh, he's doing it until they build the wall. Who? Until his Republican brothers build the wall?
Yeah.
I mean, because Democrats don't have any power right now. So it has nothing to do with Democrats. It has nothing to do with Obama. Why did it happen 2 years into Trump's presidency? If it had something to do with Obama. Obama would have never done that. He let them be together. He let people live their lives until it was their hearing date. Okay, when they came for asylum, they declared it. They lived wherever they were going to live. They worked until it was their hearing date, which could be a year or two from now, from the day they come in.
Well, as we're talking...
And these people are not Mexicans. Let me say this. These people are coming from South America. They're coming from places where there is political unrest, and they're going to be murdered if they're sent back.
So on my way here, and because I stay going back and forth between NBC and Fox News and CNN, just in the last few hours, number 45 decided to create with his pen something that stopped what's going on. And he admitted it openly that because of his wife, his daughter, and the public pushback that, and he said his own sense of hearing the crying voices. So right now they stopped that practice.
Stop what practice?
Incarcerating
separating kids.
Well, what are they doing? They put it back with their parents? Are they united?
Well, no, this is what was reported.
Some bullcorn.
It wasn't reported that the ones that are separated are being reunited, that they're just not going to continue the practice of separating them moving forward in the last few hours. And President Trump was able to do that with a stroke of his pen, when earlier they were saying...
What he was doing was illegal anyway. That's not the law. And the law hasn't been changed. Understand this. What he's doing is not legal. It's not the law. There is no law that says that when people come to... We have a law on asylum. If people are seeking asylum from their country's government, that we let them in. So he is not following the law. Let's be real clear about that. That's not the law. You can have a hearing about it, but there's nothing that says you're supposed to separate people where they live when they come and seek asylum. This is supposed to be a country that accepts all people. That's what the Statute of Liberty is for. So if there's no law that says you separate people until they're hearing. Have you ever heard of it before?
But can I add some facts to what you just said? The difference between the two categories is when you seek asylum, you have to come to port of entry, a certain point of entry to seek asylum. If you circumvent that and you climb a fence or you go a different route.
These people are coming through the port of entry.
Well, these people that are being detained
are coming through the port of entry.
Not all of them.
Maybe not all of them, but most of them are flying in and coming through ports of entry and declaring. That's how they know who they are. Otherwise, how would you know who you're detaining? You could be detaining me or you. We could be from one of those countries. I mean, when we come in, I just flew in from Italy. How would they know who I was if I didn't declare? You got to declare. It's the information I got, and I don't watch all those newscasters. I listen to lawyers, and maybe the lawyers are lying to me. But they say these people, the lawyers have told me that they're coming in through the proper port of entry, declaring, asking for asylum, and then that's how they know who they are. Because people walk in that are Americans with accents, so you can't tell by looking at somebody.
The current law doesn't allow you to arrest someone that comes to a port of entry. There's no crime committed. But if you don't go through the port of entry, the way you get detained and arrested is you didn't go to the point of entry.
It's my understanding that a lot of them are coming through the port of entry, the point of entry. That's what I've been
But you
told.
don't get arrested if you go to the port of entry.
That's what's illegal about it.
Right.
That's what's illegal about it. No, they are. That's what they are. These are not the Mexicans climbing walls, running through the water, because they're not even Mexicans. These are people coming from Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador. They're not coming through the Mexican channels. These are the proper people coming in. So that's where I'm leaving it. That's what I've been told. I don't believe the rhetoric, okay, unless you know one. But I'm just telling you, they're not coming through. These are not the wall people.
I digress.
All right, thank you. Let's talk about the prison show.
The prison show's going really well.
Look at it. Yes, just a misdemeanor. Yeah, and even if it is a crime, it's a misdemeanor. You don't detain people for misdemeanors, and kids don't commit misdemeanors. So what's you gonna say about the kids? Because kids, you can't get in trouble if you 4. We don't charge kids with intentionally coming to this country if they're 4 years old. Why are they in prison?
Well, I don't want to make their argument for them. So I'm going to agree with you rather than make
You don't have to
their
agree
argument.
with me. You should agree with humanity and empathy. Why?
I do.
You wouldn't want your 4-year-old. What crime could your 4-year-old commit? Holding your hand? Walking down the street holding your hand? Trying to walk somewhere holding your hand and get snatched from you? You'd want to fight, like they said a few fathers have fought. I mean, you going to let somebody snatch your kid? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but I know that there are a lot of people that are getting arrested at the borders, and whether they're coming in the port of entry or crawling across the wall or whatever it is. But what grieved us so much was just that they were incarcerating the families to begin with until they got their court date. Once they got their court date, then they could go on, and it'd be a year, 2 years, whatever,
Right.
before they had their hearing. But they would actually incarcerate them at the borders until they actually had a hearing to determine. And I don't know how long that incarceration was, but I was reading an article where they were in like solitary confinement.
Yes,
The whole
crazy.
family being in solitary confinement.
That's crazy. America's never done that. What do you think Ellis Island was? They weren't in jail. They
That's
went through
my
Ellis Island. You know, they went there, they came through, and they declared, and they were from all countries. You
were all
go to
in
New
there.
York, you see pictures and pictures of people coming through Ellis Island. I mean, what right did they have to do that?
Well, isn't that what Pelican Island is down here in Galveston?
Yeah.
It was the same thing. So,
I mean, what has changed?
yeah, it's just our view of who can come and who can't, and it's not fair.
Political fodder. This country doesn't belong to any of us. It's all of our countries. And when you have 2 ex-wives that are foreign, and you have, I mean, what if somebody took her kids? His current wife overstayed her visa. She had a modeling visa, and she stayed past it and was illegal. She was here in this country illegally. Okay? She overstayed her visa. It's documented. Google it. I mean, she overstayed her visa, and then now people have to go to jail?
So that is a big part of the prison show now. But an even bigger part of the prison show is the death penalty.
Tell me why the prison show was started.
Ray Hill started the prison show to give inmates a voice.
How did he get it into the prison? Do you know? It's
through the
interesting that the
radio
prison,
The radio waves.
But that the prison allows, the actual prison allows them to listen to it. It's interesting.
Yeah, well, they don't control the radio.
Airways.
But they control it turning on and off, right?
No, I buy a radio on commissary, but as long as I have headphones and I'm not playing it out loud, I can listen to whatever I want to listen to.
Okay.
So now they can, and I have heard that they block certain things, that they have the ability to block out certain channels or whatever over the antenna. I'm not sure that I've ever encountered that, because every unit I was on, I was able to listen to the prison show.
So you wouldn't know if y'all are being blocked unless somebody.
Well,
said
I've heard
we
that
can't
from
hear
the
you.
wing unit and different facilities,
But
the
has
walls
your,
perhaps.
Has your show ever been blocked?
Yeah, that's what they've written us and told us that it was blocked. Somebody told me that I needed to get a hold of the TV shop on the walls unit and find out why the walls can't hear us, but yet the bird unit can. It just seems kind of fishy that the walls can't, but the bird unit can, and they're both in the same town. And the wing unit can hear it, but yet the walls can't. So how come the walls can't?
And our research, is that even possible?
Yeah,
Because you got to think about it. When you're saying that they're intentionally blocking a specific airwave coming through the air, like
I
we're
think
going
they
to block.
can.
Well, the reason why they can is
They can.
because they use a coax cable for an antenna. So on the bird unit, whenever we were having problems picking it up because it was fading in and out, we talked to the commissary people and we got what's called a dipole antenna, where we just pick it up out of the airwaves, and then we get it real good. It was about 10 foot long, and I'd throw it out my window.
Exactly.
And so I could pick it up like it wasn't nothing. But there was a Hispanic channel that was real close to it, and it would bleed over whenever I was on the bird unit, and so therefore I couldn't pick it up using a coax cable. So
Can I make the point, if you hadn't already made it, since they got the prison bars behind me, that I am a returning citizen, that I spent 15 years in the Texas Department of Corrections, 3 different times, 3 into 15, you do the math, 2, 3, and 2, 10, and a 3. And my brother here, I won't say who he is, but
same thing.
Our relationship.
How long did you do, Dave?
15 years. I did installment plans also. I did 6, 4, and 5.
Okay.
So our relationship is built on our experience. Both of us are formerly incarcerated, but that's not the point. The point is, what did our life look like after prison? And my brother right here now is the director of a radio station, KPTF 90.
KPFT.
Okay, one
called
day
the
I'm gonna get it
Prison
right. Because I'm actually on that show every 6 weeks.
You are. Yeah, you're part of the staff.
But it's the lettering. I'm going to get the lettering down. I'm gonna have to put it.
KPFT, 90.1 FM.
And it's not irony that we're here today, but today he is director of a radio station. And I sit here as a program director of a reentry ministry called the Path of Freedom in St. John's. I've been involved in reentry work since before I got out of prison. I started while I was in prison. But to see us here today and to have a platform, which is awesome, that Vivian created, gives those are the people in the audience that have been affected by the criminal justice system hope. If you have a loved one that's incarcerated and you're worried about them getting out, what would their life look like if they changed their life? Well, it would look like David's life if they decided to change their life. And with that, I digress. I just want to just say I'm proud of you.
Thanks. You know, we talked about it last time I was on the show, all the things the decisions I had to make in order to get where I am today. And I was sharing with Ray Hill earlier today, you know, I'm going to be off parole pretty soon.
Yay.
And
How long? How long do you have?
I still got to go to 2023.
Okay, well, that's still coming.
But after, I mean, I had a 28-year sentence, so after all these years it has taken me to get to this point, I never thought I would see the day. I really thought it was just way too big of a sentence. I'd never make it.
Never live it down.
And now I've been out 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it just leaves me with my socks rolling up and down. I can't believe I've been out so long.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Doing good, too. Married.
Got
everything.
Married. The honeymoon's not over.
Honeymoon's still going on. Honeymoon's not
Hey,
over.
Dee Dee. She told me to give her a shout out. So, hey, Dee Dee.
Yeah, hey, Dee Dee.
Hey, Dee Dee.
Hey, Dee Dee. So, yeah, well, I'm very proud of you. The last time you were on the show was like, what, a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's almost 2 years now, huh?
Wow, and everything you still look the same. You look happier, actually.
Still making great decisions. That's the whole secret. The whole secret to staying out is to make the next right decision. You know, if you're making wrong decisions and you base your decisions upon your feelings, base your decisions upon your addictions, then that's why the criminal addictive cycle, you just go round and round and round and keep going back into prison. But if you make the right decision, whether you want to or not, then you end up staying free.
Well, it's got to be difficult, though. It's got to be difficult to make that decision. What were some of the things that helped you make the right decisions?
I got tired of being incarcerated.
Yeah. And does it help when you work with other prisoners, like doing the prison show?
Well,
does that help reinforce your need to be free?
You know, not to bring other things in Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about doing service work. Mm-hmm. And they didn't care if you're setting up the chairs or you're sweeping the floor. You're doing something to get your mind off of your own problems. You're helping other people out. I wanted to show. I laid up in that 6x9 listening to the prison show, and I always thought about, well, I would put this program on, or I'd put that program on, or I was a peer educator, so I heard about TIFA, Texas Inmate Family Association. I didn't know there was anybody out there that cared about inmates. It's like, they care about inmates? They're going to go to bat for us? You know, if something happens to me, they'll actually ask TDC, how come, you know, that's happening to me? And I never heard of anybody doing that before. So whenever I got out, I got involved with TIFA, and I became a TIFA volunteer. And then I learned all the things they were doing, and I helped them as much as I could, and it just got so much that they've grown so much. And now I brought Sharon Bass into it and so many other volunteers, and they're helping change the laws.
Good.
And it's good for the inmates to know that somebody actually cares, you know, and that's a good thing about the prison show is
you can report that information. You can report to them and
we
say,
don't judge the inmate at all.
Good.
So we want to get the information in that they can use to better themselves and to do their time in order to get out. You know, a lot of people think, oh, they're dirty, rotten dogs, they did the crime. Sure, they did the crime. But their punishment is the incarceration. The punishment is not the heat. It's not lack of food. It's not lack of communication with your family. It's not the sexual abuse or the assaultive natures that go on inside the prisons. So somebody needs to be the voice. Somebody needs to let the inmate know, hey, we're out here for you. You write us, you call us, you listen to us on the radio. And we give a platform to the families to be able to shout out. So if you have someone that's within our footprint and they can't go visit, or maybe they can't get a letter in, you haven't heard from somebody in a while, you get on the radio and you say, hey, Johnny, what's going on in there? Why don't you write me? You know, I can't come see you. Maybe I'll see you next month or something, you know?
Right.
And so that way you're able to get through the wire, you get over the wall.
Can you track how many listeners you have approximately?
Well, the best way we've been doing it lately is through Facebook, believe it or not. It's hard to track the inmates. We know that we getting in a 100-mile radius within the Houston transmitter, and then we have another transmitter around the Galveston area, and one up around Livingston and one around Huntsville. So, and we have a 100-mile footprint. So that's roughly about 60 different prisons. So
Out of how many units?
114.
Okay.
So I mean that's a lot of inmates that
That's
are able
50%.
to listen. And so our Facebook page last month we had over 40,000 hits on our Facebook page.
Wow. Do you have people that actually write you that listen to your show?
Yeah, we get mail all the time. So, and some of our volunteers get more mail than others, and some of us, as a producer, I try and be unbiased, I guess is the right word. So like death penalty people, they deal with what we call our death row angels. We have Miss Linda Hune and Danny Green, and they write a lot of those guys, and they go visit them. Miss Di Conkling, they go visit. And it's really neat because they're against the death penalty wholeheartedly. Whereas a producer, I have to be able to bring people on from both sides of the story. I want to make sure as media we're able to get the story out, but yet at the same time I want to give them their platform. After being incarcerated for so long, I think that the worst thing you could ever do to a person is incarcerate them forever.
Right.
So there's been a period of time in my life, and people may disagree with me, but there's been a period of time in my life I would have rather been dead than be incarcerated. And incarceration is one of the worst punishments anybody could be in. I mean, I could not imagine being life without parole. So,
wow.
We talk about the death penalty, and to me, it's like you don't really get closure because there's no real punishment, and it costs so much more money. You could put two people.
You don't think it's closure in the death penalty?
I don't think that it is.
Now tell me why you think there's no closure. That's interesting. I never heard anybody say that before. I thought most people thought it was. So tell me no closure with the death penalty. Tell me.
In my own opinion, because it's over with, it's just poof, it's gone. You didn't get a chance to talk to the guy. You didn't get a chance to ask him why. You didn't get a chance to beat him up if that's what you want to do. You don't get a chance to see him suffer as your loved one suffered.
You don't think that dying is suffering? Because the families come watch them die.
My own opinion, if it's a humane thing, that should not be any suffering. Now, Ohio and Alabama, they've got these botched executions, and I was reading here, it said that since 1890 we've had 323 botched executions.
In America or in Texas?
In America. So I mean, a botched execution would be, back in the days when you hang somebody, you hang them, and you have to hang them 2 or 3 times before they're finally dead. I mean, that's cruel. That's not right. I would think that the law says that I always thought that if they put you on an electric chair, and it didn't kill you, then you're free. I mean, you got your punishment. But that's not the way it is. I mean, they're going to kill you till you're dead, and that's cruel and unusual.
It's a highly moral decision to decide, do you agree or disagree with the death penalty? And because I knew we was going to talk about it, I asked myself that question on my way here. And what I said is, it's easy to be against it if none of your family members have been affected by something heinous happened to them. I got a daughter, 2 grandboys, and a son, and just family. It don't have to be my DNA family, just people I know. And if something happened to them that I felt they really didn't deserve, and it was really over the top, I don't know if my opinion would change about what punishment that person should receive. Only thing I can look at is, what is my belief system? And my belief system, what is my faith-based system teaches me. And it teaches more than anything forgiveness.
Right.
Just because it's teaching it, that doesn't mean when I'm called to forgive someone, I'm gonna be able to do it.
Hey, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about so recently Robert Pruitt was executed, and you knew Robert Pruitt in prison. So tell me what unit you were in.
Yeah, this is a McConnell unit in Beeville, Texas, and
do you remember what year it was? About
99. I think it happened in 99.
And how did you come to? I mean, you weren't on death row, so how did you come in contact with him?
Well, he wasn't on death row then. He was just a regular inmate like I was.
So this is before he got charged with?
Right.
Okay,
so I knew him on the unit that he got charged with killing the guard, Nagel.
So does anybody know why he was there in the first place in '99?
He was involved with a killing with his father.
Him and his brother, there's three of them.
His father had actually got like a life sentence, and I guess Robert had, whenever he was 16, he was already serving a 99-year sentence.
At 16?
That's what it says.
Oh my God! So he was certified as an adult.
16 and was already serving a 99-year sentence for his involvement in the murder of Ray Yarborough.
No, so that was prior. So he was already serving the 99 when he got charged with.
When you met him.
With Nagels.
Yeah, with Nagels.
Right. So we knew he had a life. We knew that he had a long time to serve.
And he was a young person.
And he was young.
Right.
And I wasn't so old myself, but we look at these guys, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, as kids that had no opportunity probably to ever get out of prison. And that's kind of hard. Like, you looking at this young guy and you realize, man, you're not going to ever get out of prison. And but you don't stay on that point. So back to Pruitt. Pruitt was the kind of kid that would go to medium custody, come back to population. He young. The rules in TDC are geared toward 13-year-olds. So a lot of our rules are not for adults. Like, you got to walk on the side of the line. You can't talk in certain areas. Can't walk on the grass. So a lot of the rules are adolescent rules. And these are a lot of rules the youngsters down there broke. They were rebellious against authority. Then they didn't fear consequences of taking their commissary away or visitation.
It would actually make them more mean whenever you do stuff like that.
Right, because if you put them on medium and close custody, you put them around more people their age. And when they got together, they really acted out. So to control them, most of the time, they kept them locked up for the majority of the day and only let them out to eat, shower, and sit in the day room for maybe 30 minutes. So Pruitt had made it back to population, and population gives you all the freedoms that you can have in prison.
Like what?
Access to the library, go to school. If you don't have a GED or high school diploma, it's mandated that you go to school in TDC. Also allows you to get visits, go to commissary, go to recreation, go to church.
Even just interacting with each other is a pretty good privilege. I mean, you have to have that camaraderie, that brotherhood.
Right, and how McConnell is set up, you have units on the unit that are sectioned off. So you have D, E, and F block or wing, but you're not allowed to interact between the three. If you live on D, you got to stay on D. If you live on E, and each one of these blocks house about maybe 50 people. So you got 150 people live in one building, separated by 3 sections, and you're not allowed to interact between the sections, but you all go to chow together. You all go to rec together. Okay. You all go to church together.
Church together, library together.
You go to library. Yeah. But when it's time to go to your housing, you have to go to your housing.
And how do you go? Is it a bell that's rung, or do they just start screaming at you? How do you know
They
it's time
announce
to go?
it through the pickets. Each section has a guard that sits in like a tower, and they have an intercom, and they announce what's going on over the intercom. You know, in and out is one of the calls. In and out. That means we're gonna open the doors. You can go in and you can come out, or they may say in only. That means the people in the cells, when the door open, you can't come out.
Because they want to control which direction you're going, so they know who's doing what. Because you can get
stabbed,
contract put on you, you can get beat up or whatever the case is, so they want to know who's doing what.
Okay.
And so you get used to the system, and you try to operate around it. We figure out ways to, like, all the guards don't know everybody. We're all dressed in white. So if I live on F and I go on D and I just don't get caught in count time, then no harm, no foul. But Nagel, the officer in question that died, he was one of the most the best police officer, a guard they could have ever hired in the state of Texas.
What?
And that's how we
I
viewed
thought you were
him.
going to say he was a beast or a mean man.
No,
So they killed the nicest one?
No, not nice. He was a policy guy.
Okay.
He was a rule enforcer.
Okay.
And our idea of a rule
By the book
enforcer
guard.
was, man, we know what to expect out of him.
Right.
So he's only here for 12 hours. Then someone else will come in. He's not here every day. But for 12 hours, you follow the rules. Because this guy don't play. How hard is that?
Right.
And he's not going to bother you if you're not breaking the rules.
Okay.
So we respected that about him.
Okay.
We didn't like him, but we respected how he stayed consistently only a rule enforcer. So when Nagel's working, everybody says the same thing. I'm not coming over there, man, Nagel working.
Right.
No, man, I'm not trafficking and trading today, Nagel working.
What's traffic and trade mean?
That means
If I've got a bag of coffee and he's got some food that I want, I can trade him for my bag of
Okay. When
coffee.
you say traffic, that sounds like drugs. So I just want to know.
well, we're not allowed to
It's
give
shame.
each other anything
Okay.
at any time.
Okay.
If he's hungry, I'm not allowed to feed him out of what I have. Once I give it to him, the guards see it,
That's trading or
that's
trafficking.
trafficking and trading. It's a minor infraction, but you get too many minor infractions, they turn into a major infraction, and they can cause and delay you getting out of prison.
Okay.
Okay, so going back to
Nagel.
Pruitt and Nagel, on this specific day, Nagel is working in the main hallway, controlling all movement between the three areas. It's called working the searcher's desk. So when anybody goes out that building in mass movement, he's there just monitoring everything. He's calling out, get over there, don't do that, stop talking, what is that you got? Come here, let me shake you down. So he's controlling the movement of the traffic. You don't try this guy because he has this spider sense. Like, man, you could have like the wrong ink pen in your pocket and you walk past and be like, come here, Sneed. Like, what do you want, nigga? Come here. You know you're not supposed to have this pen. I could write you up for it for contraband. I'm just going to take it. You got a problem with that, Danny? No, sir. Go to your pod. But sometimes you get caught with a pen that's not state issued. He will write it up, confiscated, possession of contraband. And be like, man, nigga got me for possession of contraband. What do you do? Man, I had a pen, man, that wasn't sold on commissary. It wasn't a paper mate.
Too many cases keep you from making parole.
But I'm not exaggerating or embellishing the story. This guy was that type of guy.
Did he ever write you up, Nagel?
He probably did. Probably caught me with some extra cleaning supplies. Like, you're not supposed to have cleaning supplies in your cell to keep it clean. So we'll buy Pine Sol and different things to keep our cell clean and keep it in little containers and hide it in little cubby holes.
Wax your floor?
No, they wouldn't, because they'll write you up because they know if it's wax, they don't sell wax. So they can just get you on just the look of it. So when he comes in, he shakes you down. So one day he was in my cell, and when this guy shake your house down, he shake your house down. He open up everything.
God.
He sniff everything.
Yeah.
And if you got anything in there, when he come out, he got a list of all the contraband you had. And the next day, somebody's gonna come to your cell and say, Danny, we got a case here for you, possession of contraband. I'm like, oh man, they got me.
And it could just be Pine Sol.
Yeah, extra towels,
Extra.
extra linen,
Extra boxers.
extra boxers. But remember I said these rules are designed for 13-year-olds, not adults. And the reason why they said they designed it for 13-year-olds is they said that's what most of our mentality was on average, because of the aptitude a lot of people didn't have educations. So when they measure you, they say, really, you're this age, but you act like a 13-year-old.
Wow. Okay.
That's sad.
That's sad. So to shorten the story, Pruitt came to my pod to pick up some toothpaste, couple bars of soap, maybe $4.50 worth of commissary
From you.
from me. So when he came, I saw him at earlier. I said, man, you know Nagel working? He said, man, I don't care. And that was his attitude.
Because he's a young kid.
Right. And
you trading him or you giving it to him?
no, I owed him that.
You owed him toothpaste, what else?
A toothpaste, 2 bars of soap, and a deodorant. Whatever it added up to $4.50 because I ran the pick'em. And the pick'em is gambling inside. You got 6 basketball games on. If you pick 4 winners out of 6, you win $4.50. If you pick 6 out of 6, you win $20. So I mean, we got to do something to pass time.
Okay.
So he won, and he won his money. He don't care. He don't care if Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions is at the door.
He wants his money.
Man, ICE not stopping him. He come and get his.
Border Patrol ain't stopping him.
Look, cages or nothing. I said, man, you sure you want to come?
Nagel is working.
Nagel working. I don't feel any Nagel not gonna get me giving it to you because he at the searcher's desk.
Right.
But when you gotta go past him, so he came, he got it. You can't walk with commissary in your hand.
Hide it.
You gotta hide it on your body. So he comes on my pod, and as he going by the searcher desk, Nagel say, hey, Pruitt, come here. You don't live on our pod. The dude, man, is good at his job. All these inmates, he knows where you live.
Which one is cheating? Oh my God.
So he pulled him over. That wasn't the bad part. When he pulled him over, he shook him down. He took his $4.50.
Oh Lord.
So he gonna get a case for that. Then he said, I'm gonna write you for out of place. It's like a capital crime.
Yeah, that's a major case.
So it's like a capital crime because you done committed 2 felonies. So we're gonna make this a capital offense. So that didn't even push Pruitt over the edge. Pruitt knows now that his time on minimum custody is going to come to the end. I mean, he's going to get sit back over to the side where you don't have any privileges. But here's what set him off. It was chow time, and he wouldn't let the man go eat. You took his $4.50.
Now I don't get chow.
You don't wrote him a case that's gonna guarantee that he's go to medium or close custody, and then you tell him he can't go eat. And that was something that a guy that's doing 99 years is never gonna probably get out of prison. It just was just too much for him it was just too much.
So what did he do?
He went and he went into the
And this is when you were there?
Yeah. I just tell him he just left me to get the $4.50.
So you the cause of him killing his guard?
I just got to own
Oh
what
my
happened.
God. I didn't know that you were going to tell me this tonight.
I just got to own what happened, not what.
So you were there when this happened?
I'm like, think about when it happened and it play all the way out.
Okay, well, finish playing it.
So,
oh my God. Oh my God.
He goes to his cell and he gets whatever instrument he can that's sharp. Some say he got it out of the craft shop. The craft shop is 25 feet from the searcher's desk.
Yeah.
The craft shop allows you to have sharp tools because they do leather craft. So someone said it was a leather craft tool that he got from the craft shop. Whatever it was, he lured the guard in what a room we call a multi-purpose room, which is another room in the same open space area where they used to let us go in there and watch TV. And whatever happened in there, Nagel didn't survive that encounter.
Wow.
Even today on Facebook, there is conversations with some of the guys that were actually there with me. They still talk about who testified against him.
Yeah, they were other inmates.
Other inmates were in that room.
Yeah.
So other inmates testified against Pruitt. And to this day on Facebook, some of the the persons I was incarcerated with openly talk about exactly who these people are, and some of them not alive today, not through some ill-gotten way they died. They just died, but. And then some people are angry that they testified. Others defend that they testified because they're saying, hey, the guy killed the guy, he seen it, they had him asking what happened. What was he to do but to say what happened?
Yeah.
What law did he have to prove it if he testified just on what he saw?
But is this the same case that case y'all were telling me about where the guard has all the blood and then Pruitt
had no blood.
Has no blood.
So the way I understood it was that, and the way Ray Hill told me, and Ray Hill was pretty extensive from Execution Watch, is that Pruitt was set up by these other inmates that killed Nagel and blamed it on Pruitt because of the case that he got, and that they actually found a grievance that he was writing about the case that he received on the ground, but yet Pruitt had no blood on him. And Pruitt had been locked up because of the case, and he was actually at recreation. And whenever Nagel got killed, and if he's at recreation, he don't have any extra clothes, and there's no way for him to shower. He's in a cage. You're in because he was incarcerated because of all those cases.
Well, see, I can dispute that that's not factually what happened, because again, it wasn't during recreation time. It was during child time. People were going to and from child, but most of the units in that area were at the child hall. So it wasn't a lot of people in the building during this time. I stayed because they was having probably chicken out of king or something I didn't want to eat, and plus I knew I was supposed to meet him.
Yeah, but it was my impression that Nagel didn't get killed at the time he wrote him the case. It was after he had wrote him the case.
Like a different day or later?
Yeah, and Robert Pruitt had already filed a grievance, because I just read here that they found a grievance on the floor beside of him, and that's what helped convict him.
Well, I can dispute that.
So you think your
you did time with him. I didn't.
Well,
your recollection is that Nagel got killed that day.
In real time,
I was there. So you think that
there.
day that you heard, oh, a guard's been killed,
No. We went on lockdown for 21 days. From the moment I never got out of that cell again for almost a month after that happened, except to shower.
And it was the same day.
Because when everybody came
I'm
back
asking
in,
you, was it the same day?
They locked the unit down. This is something that you don't mix the facts up, because you don't have a life when you're in prison to confuse what's going on because you're stuck in a cell.
Here's the bad part about all that, is that if Officer Nagel was a good officer and he was a by-the-book officer, then he didn't deserve to die no matter who killed him.
Right.
Well, and here's another thing.
It sounded like he had a lot of enemies
Here's
the
the story we got while we were still locked down, the information that was coming to us, that Nagel didn't die from his injuries. Now that was the information while I was there, that the guards were filtering back to the inmates that was going through the unit, that his wounds were not enough for him to die. That they were saying that he more likely died of a heart attack than of his wounds. And so we saying that the shock of him being stabbed probably killed him more than just the wounds. But it was reported to us, and we don't have an autopsy report, but the guards eventually started telling us, like, Nagel didn't die from his wounds, that it wasn't in arteries or places where he would have died.
Was he an older gentleman?
No, he was probably in his 40s, maybe. He maybe was in his 40s, but his wife worked there too. And see, the reason why it's so easy to have a conspiracy around everything that was going on in this unit, the feds had to come in, and a lot of people, a lot of guards and staff went to jail and prison because of they had a lot of
corruption.
Right. They had a prostitution ring and a drug ring going on our unit. But it was
Now, how can they have a prostitution ring?
but it was with the Hispanic population and the gang population.
So
When you hear
who's were they prostituting the guys?
right. So what this was how they had it set up. Well,
Say it right.
the white population and the black population was not a part of this.
Okay.
And the reason why is in South Texas, 90% of the guards and the staff were Hispanic.
And this is in McConnell unit.
Even McConnell unit, it's in Beeville, Texas. That unit averaged almost 2 deaths a month when I was there.
Inmates.
Inmates. Penthouse did an expose on us, and on the cover, while I'm in prison, I see my unit pin the most deadliest prison in the world.
Wow.
Based on how many people were dying annually versus any other prison in the entire free world. No prison had that many murders by other inmates than McConnell. And I'm saying to myself, I need Jesus.
You do need Jesus. Did you find it to be that violent when you were there?
No, I something about fear, I don't really have a good, I don't know fear.
But you weren't getting into a lot of fights, right?
I'm not trying to.
Right.
I mean.
But sometimes you have to.
Well, I did, but in this unit, you got the cigarette, they banned cigarettes, and it made it into a drug.
Okay.
A cigarette rolled up in toilet paper cost $1.
Yeah.
But if you buy a pack of bugler in the outside world for $5 and you get it in the inside, you're capable of making hundreds of dollars. So you pay a guard $500 or $100 to bring you 5 packs of bugler in. But
What's
everybody,
that? What's a
bugler is
Roll your own cigarette.
Oh, okay. The papers or the
Yeah,
round thing?
yeah,
you get back,
yeah.
Papers in
or
it
the
with the tobacco.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're not bringing in Newport's Cool and Camel cigarettes.
Why not? That's easier.
Well, no, because
Because
it's
you roll
only
your
20
own.
in the pack.
Oh, okay.
In a bugler, you can roll 100.
Oh, okay.
And so they turn cigarettes into a
Contraband.
Yeah.
a highly expensive contraband. Like now down there, it's still probably the same thing, that and cell phones. But remember, in that area, the staff is only being replenished by the dominating ethnic group in that area, which is Hispanic. So they intimidate them from the outside, those guards. My loved
A
one.
lot of the
there,
guards down there are in the same gangs that the inmates are in.
Oh, the guards in the game?
Yeah.
Well, that's why the feds had to come in because.
I want to get about the prostitution ring. So tell me
Well,
about that.
so-
Wait, have you ever been to McConnell?
Well, no, but I was on Cofield.
Okay.
So
The inmates, yeah, it's funny, and maybe I shouldn't tell everything, but we had a guy that was on my dorm or my wing on Cofield, and he would go around during the week, and he would have tapered breeches, real tight, take his boxer shorts and fray them out and make them look like he had panties, and he'd take Kool-Aid and he'd make makeup, and he'd run around there like he was a girl, prostituting himself out. But then on the weekends when his family would come to visit, he'd
turned
clean
to a boy.
himself all up and he'd look like a man. He'd go visit his family. But as soon as the family was gone, he's going back up there. And
Was his family a wife?
he had a wife and some kids that would come see him. And then during the week, he was.
He was a girl during the week.
Yeah,
And then he
they
turned
call
into
them
a-
punks down there.
They called them punks. We called them punks in San Antonio too. I didn't know everybody said.
Yeah, but
said
that-
So they were punks, and so then he turned into a husband on the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So this prostitution was female guards having sex with inmates that were on not close custody. What's the next level?
Medium custody?
No, you got SEG.
Oh.
So it was going on in Ag SEG.
So female guards are sexing the inmates?
Right,
See,
but
I thought you were going to say the inmates would have.
No,
Yeah, I would think it
no,
was-
no. On this unit, the female guards were
I never heard of
making
that.
outside. They were paying them from on the outside to have sex with people on the inside.
So help me understand. All right, so you're in prison, and there's a guard, and I'm your sister. So I pay the guard to have sex with you.
Right. They,
So the guards are the ones pimping themselves?
Yeah, but it was organized. So they were all in on it. Everybody was profiting off bringing in heroin, cocaine.
Yeah, and I heard all that.
But the thing about it is, you know what's going on, but you don't know what's going on because you're not going to be.
You're not in it.
Right, because you're
So
in
you
South,
hear about it.
Man, you're just trying to survive. They're killing each other every other week. Because of the corruption, and I mean, it was like it was on the outside and on the inside. And I was there for 8 years.
Oh my God. You were there for 8 years?
You know, they busted up a bunch of people down there for bringing in the cell phones and
But we didn't have cell phones then, but it was the contraband, the prostitution. And so one day, the feds came on and a bunch of people went to jail. And
The guards went to jail.
Yeah, so we get the newspaper now, all the guards that we knew, they in jail.
Dang.
Wardens and everybody. Like,
Dang.
and so it's like this big old huge, they ran on our unit and we were loving it. Like, wow, this is
They
crazy.
get to taste what we taste, and they in federal.
But it was the fact that we were powerless to stop or do anything. Only thing we saying is stay out of their way because they ain't playing. Let them keep killing each other. If you stay out their business, they won't bother you.
Wow, time flies when you're having fun and you're telling stories. We got 5 minutes, so we want to focus on David, our guest tonight. So, David, what do you want to talk about? You got 5 minutes, I'm hearing from the clock on the wall.
Well, I would like to talk to all the families out there who have loved ones that are incarcerated. And, you know, we all make mistakes. And the good thing about it is that we can recover from our mistakes and that we can make better decisions. So don't give up on your loved ones. Go visit them. I'm not telling you to send $400 or $500 down there, but give them a little bit of something to make them feel like they're human so they can get some deodorant and some soap to bathe with and some toothpaste. You know, that makes a world of difference whenever you're down there and you're incarcerated. Even if you just get a J-pay, send them a letter, let them know how much you care about them and that you're thinking about them, and let them work on earning your trust back. I'm not telling you just to go wholeheartedly and forgive them like Danny's talking earlier about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a real hard thing to do. But, you know, I've been out long enough now that my mom loves me. And there was a day that I stole from my mother.
Oh, my God.
So
you had a drug problem, right?
I had a drug and alcohol addiction. And so now my mom, she trusts me, you know, the world. She's going to come down in November, and I took a week off so we could spend some time together.
Where does she live?
She lives in Kansas City, Missouri.
So she trusts you now.
Yeah. So today she loves me, but I had to earn that trust.
How long did it take, David?
Well, I've been out 8 years now, so she sees that I'm a completely different person.
Has she met your wife?
She loves my wife. She come down for the wedding, so and she remembered my wife is my high school sweetheart.
Okay. So she's from Kansas too?
No, my wife we're all from here in Houston. My mom lived here in Houston.
Okay.
She just recently, over the last couple of years, moved to Kansas City because my older brother lives up there. And my older brother's got 5 kids, I guess. And so my mom had a whole side of the family that she really didn't know. So now she's able to spend time with them.
Yeah.
And I'm married now, so before I was married, I'd go down and get my mom. It might be midnight, and I'd take her out to a matinee movie or something.
Oh, so you worked it.
Yeah, because I had to make.
And your only job of income is being director, or do you do another job?
No, I don't.
That's a free
I'm a
job.
voluntary basis for I'm a producer at the prison show. That's voluntary. Now, right now, I'm facility manager for Planet Fitness.
Oh, yeah, you were working at Planet Fitness a couple of years ago, so you have some history. How long have you been at Planet
5
Fitness?
years now.
5 years.
I started out as a maintenance man. We had 6 gyms, and we just recently opened up our 19th gym.
Wow.
So
He the man.
He's the man. So
the
what's
man.
your job at Planet Fitness?
I'm facility manager. I take care of all the maintenance, and we have a parts warehouse, a material warehouse, and so I have 4 guys and a girl that works with me, and we take care of all the maintenance issues, whether it's on the machines, whether it's air conditioning,
great.
plumbing, whatever the case may be.
So he can hire people.
Yeah, and I have. Not to give away all our business, but we have. You know,
Yeah.
we're second chance opportunities. If you can do the work and you're no longer a danger to society and you're trying to better yourself, then we're here for you.
You'll
Look
take
at
a
that,
chance.
man. Ain't that awesome?
And God good? Or you can give other people. Have you given people
Yep.
who've had a second chance?
Some of them have done well, and some of them haven't done
Right.
so well.
Everybody's not going to do well, but you know how to. You can
you
be
gotta-
like Nagel and spot it, though, I'm sure.
We have a very strict interview process, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure even if they start messing up, you can see it.
But, you know, a lot of families just want to forget about their loved ones because they messed up, and that's we all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes, and these are two great guys that can show that. They've done 15 years amongst them, and look at what they're doing. Staying out, doing well, contributing to society. Serving society.
Productive member of society today.
Serving does well. Danny's just done a big time vacation in Virginia for lovers, which he does every year. So.
Can I say something quickly?
Of course you can. Even though you've dominated David's time tonight.
Don't put me on blast like that. You asked for me to.
Wait, let me just say, but the story was good. I didn't know you had this story in you. I mean, since we're talking about it. So, yeah, David, we've got to come back. We've got to come back and talk about this more.
There was no DNA evidence to convict Robert Pruitt. None. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
How did he get the weapon and stab him with it if there's no?
And have no blood on him, but the other scene is bloody. Wow. That's definitely can be a movie. Make a movie out of that one.
So I'm from Texarkana, Texas. I graduated in 1982.
19 what?
82.
Okay.
Class of 1982. Recently lost one of my classmates. His name was Troy Pree. Strong guy, lived in the same neighborhood with me. So I want to try to go home and see him and put the rest this weekend.
1 minute.
And also the Collins family, Travis Collins, we lost him today. Just a reminder that live your best life. And God turned my wounds into wisdom and amazing opportunities. And if he can do it for me, he can do it for anyone. There's life out there in incarceration, and me and David is a great example of it. Thank you, Vivian King, for giving us a platform.
Thank you for coming, and will you come back?
Sure.
I mean, we didn't get to tell all your stories. There's a lot of death row things going on right now. There's things that are coming up in the future, but it's going to be hot. There's a lot of people who've been waiting for a long time. Let's see what happens. This is a great topic, a great conversation. Y'all have great stories. Danny, you've been helping me for 3-4 years, and you had never told that story.
It ain't about me.
It ain't about you, but that's a good story, especially when the guy just got executed, I think, last year, right?
Yeah.
October
2017,
because we hadn't been doing any executions, right? So it did happen. We're excited that we were able to put this show on. It's a rainy night in Houston, but we've had a good time sharing our tales about the criminal justice system. What a wonderful story about Robert Pruitt, and what a wonderful charity and volunteer work that you do for the prison show. David, it's important. I've watched you on Facebook. I know what you're doing, and I appreciate your good work.
Been on the show several times.
Yeah, I have, and I appreciate your good work. Keep up the good work. Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King, and we'll see you in 2 weeks with another great story about criminal justice in our community. Good night.